The United States men's national team just defeated Trinidad and Tobago 3-0 in a match that didn't really feel like a 3-0 victory. Sure, at the end of the day, it's a competitive match and the results is what truly matters, but the performance was very meh, if that makes any sense. So let's talk about it. Hi, if you're new, I'm Filippo, and welcome to Tactical Manager TV. And welcome to the 7 Things We Learned series, where every single day following a US men's national team match, I tell you 7 things that I learned. You know, a series that we totally didn't rip off from George Benson. Actually, we didn't, because he does 6 things he learned. We made it better. We made it 7. But anyhow, I lost a little bit of my voice because this game was a lot more stressful than I thought it would be. I went to the game, had a fun experience. It was fun, but it was very stressful to see us go 80 minutes without scoring against Trinidad and Tobago while playing man up for most of the match. We're going to talk about that in the 7 lessons. So you can let me know in the comment section down below, what did you learn from United States 3, Trinidad and Tobago 0? And we obviously have the second leg, the second game on Monday. With that said, drop a like in the video if you want to. Pray for my voice to come back to normal by Monday, which it should. And that's all. Oh, and check the vlog. We're making a vlog showing the experience. Might not be too good. I don't do a good job at vlogs, but maybe it'll be all right, I guess. Okay, play the intro. Let's start the lessons. So, lesson number 1, I think I want to start with a positive lesson. Then I'm going to go to a few negatives because there were quite a few. But the positive lesson is Greg Berhalter does, in fact, see Gio Reyna as a player that has to play central, which is what we preached and asked for last cycle. He clearly sees that this cycle. Think about it for a second. We didn't have our 2 starting wingers, Tim Weah and Christian Pulisic. He still did not play Gio wide. Now, sure, Gio Reyna was drifting wide at times, but that didn't seem like that was like instructed by Greg. It seemed more like it was a Gio Reyna decision, you know, at the game just to find space. But he was playing central. I was at the stadium. I saw it. He was playing central. And then even later in the match, when Greg Berhalter made a few subs, Gio was still floating around and not really playing out wide. He was going central quite a bit. So with that said, that's a positive, because despite the performance of the team, which we're going to talk about in a second, the fact that Greg Berhalter sees Gio only as a central player means we're probably not going to see him shoved down the wing once again. And again, Gio Reyna is not a winger. So lesson number 2, it might sound like a positive when you first hear it, but it's actually a negative lesson, and you're going to want to hear me out so I can explain it. So the player selections, the formation that Greg Berhalter put out were fine, but the performance wasn't. So let me go through one of the issues that I've been having with Berhalter's teams, which was an issue last cycle. And I actually don't think this will ever change, in my opinion. I really don't. And when I explain it, you'll probably understand. But let's just talk about it. You see, especially in the first half, in multiple occasions, the team was very slow, methodical. And, you know, just the only play we had was like crosses. Like the first shot we had on target was Serginho Dest with a poor cross, which again, Berhalter ball. You see, and then the one thing I noticed too, it seemed at times that the players didn't care. I actually don't want to say they didn't care. It just seemed like they didn't really have fire in them, grit. It didn't seem like they cared that much about the game. And I know they do care. And then I ask you this question, is that really on Greg? Is that on the players? To which I will say, it's a little bit of both. Right? Why do the players look so passive at times? Why do they look like they don't care enough? Why don't they play to their ability? Why do we play down to the opponent we're facing? Yes, it's a little bit on Greg, but it's also a little bit on the players. But let me address why I think it's a little bit on Greg. You see, I talked about this multiple times, and some people might think this analysis is just stupid, but the teams tend to absorb the personality of the coach. In our team, the US men's national team very much looks like Greg Berhalter's personality. I don't know, we seem to lack fire, and it showed. It just looks like a Berhalter team. Because think about it for a second. When you see a Jose Mourinho team, there's a very well-defined characteristic and I guess like personality that the team has because of Jose Mourinho. The same applies to Diego Simeone. Again, regardless of the players. Pep Guardiola. And if you're from Brazil, like a team that I follow a lot, Palmeiras under Abel Ferreira, And we can keep giving multiple examples of different coaches. Carlo Ancelotti from Real Madrid, when he even had the Milan days, they absorb the personality of the coach. And we see it out the U.S. men's national team. Nothing against Greg's personality or the player's personality. I'm just saying, I don't know, it just doesn't seem to spark that fire that you need, the competitiveness at times. And we kind of got that vibes in the 2022 World Cup as well. But in this game, watching it from the stadium, that's how I felt. And I don't know, you guys can let me know what you thought. I do want to also say that at least in the second half, adjustments were made in terms of like how we played, right? We moved the ball far quicker in the second half, and that led to many more goal-scoring opportunities. We were less slow, or I guess we weren't as slow in the first half, less methodical, and it was a much better performance in the second half that got us the 3 goals, even though the 3 goals were very much late in the second half and they don't really tell the entire story of the match. There were improvements. The first half, we were extremely slow, too casual, predictable, and we always had the same patterns of play, which that changed a little bit in the second half. It wasn't perfect, but it was better. And keep in mind, this Trinidad and Tobago team is not good, and no one's going to convince me otherwise from what I've seen live there at the stadium. Lesson number 3 is that this was a 3-0 victory, but it gave me those vibes of that 3-0 win we had against Uzbekistan, which we scored, I think that game we scored 2 goals late in the game when we were playing man up. That's what this game felt like. We played man up for most of the match, and then we got 3 goals in the final 10 minutes and didn't really feel that way. We did create chances, and players like Balogun were wasteful. Aronson had a few chances, but overall, that's the vibe I got. It could have easily ended 1-0 for the U.S. men's national team, or a 0-0 draw. If Trinidad and Tobago never got a red card in the first half, would we have won this match? Maybe, probably. Would it have been 3-0? Most likely not. Probably a 1-0 win, which is a dangerous win when we have to go play away in CONCACAF, and you know the away record of this team under Greg Berhalter, so especially in CONCACAF. So again, thank you for the red card. We really needed it. It seemed like we needed it to beat Trinidad and Tobago at home. This 3-0 was a 3-0 win. Got the job done. Good. We're pretty much in the Copa America. But again, how we get there matters, and I don't know, man. It just didn't really feel like a 3-0 to me. But it was a 3-0. Okay, so let's just make that clear. I'm not crazy. I know what I saw. Let's go to lesson number 4. This is a quick one and an obvious one, which everyone probably knew, but watching the game live and seeing their positioning while the ball was somewhere else, something you don't really see on TV, it was more noticeable. Tim Ream really understands A-Rob's defensive weaknesses. Anytime A-Rob was caught off position or went for an interception and failed, Tim Ream always was there to cover it before the mistake was made. It was quite noticeable during the game. Obviously, they're Fulham teammates. He knows A-Rob very well. And it was just something noticeable, the chemistry between those two, which is very important because A-Rob is a lock to start on our left back position. The thing is, for how long can Tim Ream continue to do this? He was very good in the game, Tim Ream, by the way, on the ball and defending. I don't know for how long he can continue to do this, but someone should probably learn from him because it was quite remarkable, his reading of the game. I was impressed with Tim Ream's reading of the game, especially in regards to Jedi Robinson. Lesson number 5 is super quick. It's just Balogun is in poor form. We've seen a better version of Fullerton Balogun. He's been poor for Monaco for at least 4 to 5 games. We cover him every week here. It hasn't been good for them. In this game, it wasn't that he didn't get service. He got it at times. He was a bit wasteful. His touch was off. Trying to drop penalty kicks when they weren't penalty kicks. Like, Balogun just had a very poor performance once again. It's been like that for Club for the past 4 to 5 matches. And then against Trinidad and Tobago, this was a game that I expected him to stat pad. And he did the complete opposite. Didn't really play well at all, which was a major disappointment. But again, he's a quality player. He is our best center forward, despite Pepe once again scoring and Pepe loving just, you know, the act of saving Berhalter every time. Congratulations to Pepe, by the way. He's been getting it done for the U.S. men's national team. Balogun is still our best center forward, has the tools. He's just in really poor form right now. Lesson number 6 is probably the quickest one. I'm going to be very brief. Berhalter's bounce passes are over. I was watching it throughout the game when I was obviously at the stadium, trying to observe if he was doing it and the camera wasn't catching it. And in multiple occasions, he was very close to the player, and instead of doing the bounce pass, he just gave them the ball or just tossed it normally like a normal person would do. Even though bounce passes are okay occasionally, but when you're doing it behind the back constantly, it's a little bit silly. It's a bit of like childish behavior for a coach. And that's a positive, actually. That's a positive one because I actually try to look at it the entire match. So it is a positive. Last but not least, lesson number 7, and hopefully by now you dropped a like and a comment already in the video, is that Cameron Carter-Vickers was quite impressive in the air. It surprised me a lot because he's not very tall for a center back, and if you're at the game, you could notice that he was shorter than Ream and many of the Trinidad and Tobago players, shorter than McKennie. But I think he won almost every single aerial duel against a very tough Trinidad and Tobago side in terms of physicality, and even they were very good in the air. So Carter-Vickers should be praised for that, because that's what a lot of the MLS shills would praise Zimmerman. That's literally the only thing Zimmerman was good at, winning aerial duels, defensively, attacking, whatever. And Carter-Vickers looked pretty darn good on that. He looks very reliable on that, but he offers a lot more. So I just want to point that out, because when Zimmerman wins the headers, they would love to point it out, so let's do the same for Carter-Vickers. Alright everyone, thank you very much for watching. I apologize for my voice. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the vlog that'll be released later today or someday. Hopefully it'll be released sometime. In this video, drop a like before you go, a comment, do whatever you like. Thank you for watching. Let me know what you learned, and have a great day.